Okay, so good day everyone. For today's video, magpapaka-teacher muna tayo since ang profession natin is teacher. So, ang content natin ngayon is about exploring random variables. Ito yung first topic sa probability statistics. Siguro, nagtataka ka kung bakit ganito yung content. Kasi, ako ay isang teacher sa mathematics sa senior high. So, mga content ko rito sa channel ko is about my personal vlogs and my lessons with regards sa mathematics, specifically sa general mathematics, tsaka sa statistics and probability. Okay? So, simulan na natin. Okay, so unahin natin tong objectives natin. So, we have 3 objectives here. Number 1 is illustrate random variable. So, I hope at the end of this lesson, you can understand the concept of the random variable. Number 2 is you can classify random variables as discrete random variables or continuous random variables. I hope you can distinguish or determine if the given random variables is an example of a discrete random variable or a continuous random variable. Last objective is we have to find the possible values of a random variables. Okay? So, simulan na natin. Okay, so ang una natin gagawin is i-define ko sa inyo what is a random variable. So I have a definition here. Ang sabi rito, it is a ways in mapping outcome in a random process to numbers. Yes, correct yan. Example, meron tayong experiment, no? Tossing a coin. So meron kang piso, tapos ito-toss mo. Pag lumagpak sa sahig yun, meron tayong dalawang possible outcome. Pwedeng maging heads or pwedeng maging tails. Tama ba? Pero pag sinabi nating random variable, pupunta ka lang dun sa part na gusto mong makita. Sa example, you are particular to number of heads dun sa experiment mo. So kapag pag-flip mo ng coin, pag lumabas yung heads dun, i-convert mo yun sa numeric value. For example, heads yung lumabas. Ilang heads yung nakita mo? Probably isa lang kasi isang coin lang naman yung flip mo. So that is numeric value. That is equal to 1. Pero kapag naman, pag flip mo, lumabas tails. Pero syempre, hindi naman tails yung gusto mong makita. So since hindi yun heads, ang equivalent value nun is 0. Yung random variable can be expressed or can be processed in numeric data. So number 2, a random variable is a numerical description of the outcome of statistical experiment. So, yun na nga yung sinabi ko kanina, di ba? Okay, kapag nagra-random variable tayo, usually ang ginagamit natin is uppercase letter, mga capitalized letter. Example, tossing a coin, and then we are particular to number of heads. So, i-represent natin yung number of heads as a variable, uppercase letter. So, let X be the number of heads appear in the random variable. So ngayon, yung outcome nun should be, translate, the outcome should be in numerical value. So susulat mo yung random variable, ililist down mo yung mga possible values niya. So kung tossing a coin lang, ang numeric values ng random variable x mo is 1 and 0 or 0 and 1. So I will give you an example para mas maintindihan nyo yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. Kasi I just give you the whole picture so that para meron tayong direction dun sa pag-uusapan natin para hindi kayo mawala. Okay, so ito yung example. Okay, so ito yung example natin. Let B, a random variable, denotes the number of students inside the cafeteria in specific hour. So ang random variable natin is the number of students inside the cafeteria. So instead na isulat natin yung random variable na pagkahaba-haba na number of students inside the cafeteria, we're just using a variable or letters. Let's say random variable S is the number of the students inside a cafeteria in specific hour. So ang question dito is what are the possible values of random variable? So when we talk about values of a random variable, it should be written numerically. So by numbers na siya. Is a whole number. So ang possible values natin of our random variable can be 0, can be 1, can be 2, can be 3, so on and so forth. Kasi sa specific hours, maaaring walang customer, maaaring merong isa, maaaring merong dalawa, maaaring merong tatlo, at maaring mas marami pa. So, ang ating random variable can be represented as a numeric value. Okay, so here we have an activity. Ang title nito is tossing 3 coins. Suppose 3 coins are tossed. Let y be the random variable representing the number of tails that occur. Find the values of the random variable. Okay, so yun yung gagawin natin ngayon. The first steps is determine the sample space and let h represent the head and t represent the tail. Okay, so malinaw yun, no? So solution, the sample space for this experiment is, dito sa first possible outcome natin, we have 3 tails. So ang values natin is 3. So we have 2 tails, 1 head. The values of random variable here is 2. So we have THT, we have 2 tails. We have HTT, we have 2 tails again. Then we have HHT, we have 1 tail. We have HTH, we have 1 tail again. THH, we have 1 tail, and we have HHH, we have no tails. That is 0. Okay, so as you can see, our possible values of the random variable y are 0, 1, 2, and 3. It means that if you're tossing 3 coins, you can have no tails at all. Puro heads yung makikita mo, walang tails. Pwede naman pag flip mo ng 3 coins, pwedeng isang tail lang yung lumabas. Pwede naman pag toss mo ng 3 coins, pwedeng lahat naman ng coins is tails. Therefore, the possible values of the random variable y, which is the number of tails, are 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so here we're going to discuss about classify random variables in terms of discrete random variables and continuous random variables. As we all know, in our objectives na we're going to classify random variables in terms of discrete and continuous. Okay? So here is the definition. A random variable is discrete random variable if its set of possible outcomes is countable. Ibig sabihin is nabibilang. Okay? Mostly discrete random variables represent count data, such as now the number of pets in the household. Like for example, kung pupunta ka sa mga kapitbahay mo, tapos randomly, i-check mo yung bilang o yung number of pets na meron sila. Pwedeng walang pets, merong isa, merong 3, merong 4, etc. So those kind of random variable is what we call a discrete random variable. So punta naman tayo dito sa continuous random variable. Ang sabi rito, a random variable is a continuous random variable if it takes on values on a continuous scale. Often, it represents measured data such as height, weights, and temperature. Itong continuous random variable na to, hindi siya naka-full numbers, no? Ito yung mga set of data na hindi siya fixed. Like for example, pupunta ka sa isang classroom at kukunin mo yung height nila. Height ng grade 11 students. Magkakaiba sila ng height, no, in terms of measurements. Iba, 165 cm, may mga decimal point pa. So those kind of data is an example of continuous random variable like height, weight, and temperature, and so on and so forth. Now, let's have a short activity. So, sa activity number 2 natin is, we're just going to identify if the following random variables is an example of a discrete or a continuous. So, number 1, a number of effective computers in schools. So, what do you think is the answer? Yes, the answer here is discrete random variable. Kasi pwede mong ma-identify, pwede mong mabilang kung ilan yung mga defective computers dun sa bawat eskwelahan kapag pupuntahan mo or bibisitahin mo. Number 2, the weight of newborns each year in hospital. Okay, magkakaiba to, no? There are different weights. Ang mga sanggol hindi pare-parehas. This is an example of what? Continuous random variable. Okay? So next, the number of siblings in the family of Barangay Ilaya, Mandaluyong City. Okay? So, I think mabibilang natin to kapag sa mga census, no? Punta sila sa bahay ninyo, tapos nagtatanong sila kung ilan yung mga members ng family. So, nakakapagbigay kayo ng exact number of data. So, this is an example of a discrete random variable. Number 4, the number of dropout in a school district this school year 2020-2021. So, this is also an example of discrete random variables because we can give exact value of number of dropouts per school. The last one is the amount of sugar in a cup of coffee. As you can see, sa sentence pa lang, the amount of sugar, magkakaiba tayo ng measurement when it comes to sugar dun sa ating coffee. There are different measurement in terms of sugar sa kape. The answer here is, this is an example of continuous random variable. Okay, so I think nagawa natin itong ating first lesson with regards to probability and statistics, which is exploring random variables. Nagkaroon na tayo ng idea what is a random variable, how do we get the values of a random variable, and then how can we classify random variable if it's a discrete or if it's continuous random variable. So, I hope nakatulong itong video na to para sa pag-aaral mo. Kung nakatulong siya at nagustuhan mo yung video na to, can you please like and subscribe? Tapos, mag-leave ka na rin ng comment below kung ano yung mga lessons na gusto mong i-discuss ko. Okay? So, have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.